Hi, it's theiOS. In this video I'm going to demonstrate the differences between the Play Next and Play Later feature that's in the Music app in iOS 10, and also show how you can access the Play Next and Play Later list where you can view your tracks for them particular Play Next or Play Later feature. So as you can see now, I'm currently in the album view, so if I start to play this album, now, if we go back out into the, I'll just go back onto the songs view, and I'll just choose the Adventure of a Lifetime song. Now, I'm demonstrating this on the iPhone 7 Plus, which has 3D touch. But on non-3D touch iPhones, a long press would do the same as what I'm showing here. So if I 3D touch on this Adventure of a Lifetime song, this will bring up this little dialog window, and we've got, amongst other options, Play Next and Play Later. Now, if I choose to play this Adventure of a Lifetime song later, that will then bring a little message up saying it's added to the queue. Now, if we go back into the mini player, which can be accessed at the nearly at the very bottom of the screen, we can see In the City by The Jam is playing, and we've got a pause and skip forward control. If I touch on that little bar, that will bring up the main playback window. Now, Apple have changed the way that I can access the Play Next and Play Later list in iOS 10. Previously, I think you could touch the three little dots which you can see at the bottom right of the screen, and that would bring us an option up where we could see the Play Next and Play Later list. Well, in iOS 10 this has been changed, and it isn't really that intuitive to how you can access the Play Next and Play Later list. But basically in iOS 10, to access the Play Next and Play Later list, if we swipe up from the bottom of the screen, scroll up from the bottom of the screen I should say, we can see Next. That will reveal our Up Next list, and also the option to show the lyrics as well for this particular album, but we'll just concentrate on the Up Next list. Now, we can see all of the tracks which are going to play after the current track, and if we go right down to the very bottom, it's quite a long album, we can see that the Adventure of a Lifetime song will be playing after the very last track on the album that we're currently listening to. So that's the Play Later feature. So as you can see, it'll play that particular track or a particular album. If it was an album that you'd chose to play later, it'll play after the very last track of the album that you're currently listening to. So if you want to clear any items off your Play Next or Play Later list, you can just simply swipe to the left, and we can see there we've got the remove option. So I'll remove that song just to not confuse for the next part of this guide. So if we go back into the song view again, and just for easiness, I'll choose the Adventure of a Lifetime song. So if I 3D touch or a long press on that song for non-3D touch iPhones, this time I'll choose Play Next, and we get the little message coming up saying it's added to the queue, and we'll play this next. If we go back into the little mini player, which is at the bottom of the screen, get our main playback window open. And again, if we just scroll upwards, we can see next, right at the very top of the list, we've got the Adventure of a Lifetime song. So the Up Next will basically play that currently chosen song or album next, which it just has done there. As we can see now, Adventure of a Lifetime started to play next after the song that was on previously. So Up Next will basically add that particular song or album and it'll play it regardless of if the album that you were previously listening to has finished or not. So after that Adventure of a Lifetime song had finished, you can see that it would continue to play the rest of the tracks that were on the Jam album that we were listening to. So I'll just go back and add the Age of Loneliness song, play later, and we'll go back into the mini player, scroll up, and you can see right at the very bottom, Age of Loneliness will play after the last track of the Jam album is played. So I think that about covers everything for the Play Next and Play Later feature in iOS 10, and also how you can see your Play Next and Play Later list. Well, I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and also if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll get an email when I upload any new videos. Well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.